The plumage distortion. You bought the premium birdseed mix to see vibrant red cardinals. You are actually participating in a massive genetic camouflage operation. Male house finches derive their red pigment from carotenoids found in natural berries. Your bird feeder provides a consistent supply of synthetic or misplaced nutrients. This stabilizes the color of the local population regardless of their actual health or foraging skills. In nature, a pale finch is a biological failure. It failed to find high-quality food. It is a signal of weakness. Your backyard feeder turns these losers into deceptive winners. Females choose mates based on the brightness of their chest feathers. By providing easy access to pigments, you are tricking the female birds into mating with genetically inferior males. This creates a generation of offspring with lower immunity and poorer survival instincts. The local gene pool is being diluted by your desire for a pretty view. You are effectively running a bird version of a plastic surgery clinic where every patient gets the same mediocre nose job. The sexual selection process has been completely bypassed by a 20-pound bag of black oil sunflower seeds. The billion-dollar birdseed industry relies on your ignorance of this evolutionary sabotage. You wanted nature in your yard. You produced a collection of frauds in red suits. Evolution is crying in the corner while you refill the plastic tube. The migratory paralysis. Migration is a brutal test of endurance designed to cull the weak. Your heated sugar water dispensers have disrupted this ancient biological filtration process. Anna's hummingbirds used to leave the Pacific Northwest before the frost arrived. Now they stay because you provide a consistent caloric lifeline. This is not a kindness. It is a biological trap. You are convincing a tropical organism to gamble its life against a polar vortex. If your feeder freezes, or if you go on vacation, the bird dies of starvation within hours. The physiological triggers for migration are overridden by the immediate availability of easy energy. This creates resident populations in areas where they physically cannot survive without human intervention. You have become a volunteer deity for a tiny, shivering bird that should be in Mexico. These birds stop responding to photoperiod cues because the sugar high is too strong. When the deep freeze hits, they enter a state of torpor that often ends in death. You are not helping them thrive. You are creating a dependent class of avian addicts who have forgotten how to read the stars. Their internal compass is broken by a red plastic flower filled with high-fructose corn syrup. The sky remains empty because the birds are too busy defending your porch against a winter that will eventually kill them. The Salmonella Buffet. Your backyard feeder is the bird equivalent of a cruise ship during a norovirus outbreak. You congregate hundreds of individuals from different species into a space the size of a dinner plate. This is a biological impossibility in the wild. In nature, birds spread out to minimize the risk of infection. At your feeder, they defecate exactly where they eat. This creates a perfect transmission loop for Salmonella typhimurium. Pine siskins and goldfinches are particularly susceptible to this fecal-oral route of destruction. The bacteria thrive in the damp accumulation of discarded seed hulls and droppings at the base of the pole. You watch them fluff their feathers and think they look cute. In reality, they are in the final stages of a lethal infection. Their lethargy is not a sign of comfort. It is organ failure. The disease spreads rapidly through the local population, turning your garden into a localized extinction zone. You are running a super spreader event for $5 a bag. Even the most diligent cleaning with a 10% bleach solution rarely keeps up with the sheer volume of pathogens introduced by a single sick visitor. You intended to foster life. You built a decorative monument to avian mortality. The birds keep coming because the hunger is stronger than the fear of the invisible killer lurking on the perch. The predator magnetism. You are not just feeding the songbirds. You are setting the table for the local Cooper's hawk. By concentrating dozens of small, distracted birds in one open location, you have created a fast food drive-through for raptors. The hawk does not care about your bird identification book. It only cares about the caloric density of a well-fed mourning dove. Your feeder removes the element of surprise from the hunt. The hawk knows exactly where the prey will be every morning at sunrise. This is not natural predation. This is a predictable massacre staged for your viewing pleasure. Furthermore, the ground beneath your feeder becomes a neon sign for domestic cats. The birds are so focused on the hierarchy of the perch that they lose their situational awareness. The neighborhood tabby is not hunting for food. It is hunting for sport, subsidized by your birdseed. Studies show that outdoor cats kill billions of birds annually. Your feeder acts as a localized funnel for this slaughter. You are subsidizing the destruction of the very species you claim to admire. The songbirds are trapped in a deadly paradox. They need the food you provide to survive the night, but the act of eating it makes them the primary target for every predator in a 3-block radius. The feeder is a sacrificial altar disguised as a hobby. The Darwinian filter. You think you are supporting biodiversity. You are actually funding an invasive takeover. Common birdseed mixes are heavily weighted toward cheap fillers like cracked corn and white proso millet. These are the primary fuels for the house sparrow and the European starling. These species are aggressive, opportunistic, and highly successful invaders. They do not share. They dominate. They use the energy from your feeder to outcompete native cavity nesters like bluebirds and chickadees. A well-fed house sparrow has the stamina to harass native birds, destroy their eggs, and claim their nesting sites. Your financial investment in birdseed is an investment in the homogenization of the avian landscape. You are paying to replace a complex ecosystem with a monoculture of brown and gray pests. The starlings arrive in massive murmurs to drain your expensive suet blocks in minutes. They are the hooligans of the bird world, and you are the bartender serving them free drinks. This creates a feedback loop where native species are pushed to the fringes because they cannot compete with the sheer volume of invasive biomass you are supporting. The variety of life in your backyard is shrinking while the population of the most common, least interesting birds explodes. You are watching the slow-motion replacement of the unique with the ubiquitous. The morphological shift. Humans have managed to rewrite the genetic code of wild birds through the simple act of hanging a tube of plastic. In the United Kingdom, researchers have documented a measurable increase in the beak length of great tits over the last few decades. This is not a random mutation. It is a direct evolutionary response to the design of bird feeders. Birds with slightly longer beaks are better at reaching the seeds inside the feeders. They get more food, they survive longer, and they pass those genes to their offspring. You are effectively acting as a selective breeding agent for a new subspecies of bird. This is evolution at hyperspeed, occurring over decades instead of millennia. While it seems fascinating, this morphological change has consequences. A beak optimized for a plastic tube may be less efficient at catching caterpillars or foraging in natural bark. You are tailoring the bird to fit the tool. If the bird feeding trend were to stop tomorrow, these birds would find themselves with specialized equipment for a job that no longer exists. They are becoming biological appendages of the backyard industry. We are turning wild animals into custom-made consumers, shaped by the industrial design of the bird care section at the local hardware store. The birds are literally changing their faces to match your hobby. The glass ceiling. You placed the feeder close to the window so you could see the intricate details of the feathers. You have unknowingly created a lethal flight path. Birds do not understand the concept of transparency. They see the reflection of the sky or the trees and perceive a clear path for escape. When a predator arrives or a sudden noise startles the flock, the birds explode in a panic. Those facing the house hit the glass at full speed. Most of these collisions are fatal. Even if the bird flies away, it likely suffers from internal hemorrhaging or a concussion that makes it easy prey for a scavenger. Estimates suggest that up to 1 billion birds die every year from window strikes in the United States alone. Your feeder is the primary lure that brings them into this danger zone. The closer the feeder is to the glass, the higher the risk of a high-velocity impact. You are luring them into a minefield of invisible walls for the sake of a better photograph. The irony is staggering. You spend hundreds of dollars on specialized seed and ergonomic perches only to have the bird's life ended by the very window you used to admire them. The thud against the glass is the sound of a well-intentioned hobby colliding with a lack of architectural consideration. The ecological ripple. The impact of bird feeding extends far beyond the birds themselves. You are disrupting the entire local food web. When you provide a consistent source of seeds, birds spend less time hunting for insects. This allows pest populations to flourish in your garden. The natural role of the bird as a biological control agent is compromised. Furthermore, many of the seeds in your mix are not native to your region. Birds eat the seed, fly to a nearby natural area, and deposit the undigested remains in their droppings. You are inadvertently planting invasive weeds across your neighborhood. This changes the plant composition of local parks and forests. The birds are also spreading the seeds of garden plants that were never meant to leave your yard. The economic cost of managing these invasive species is astronomical. You are also creating a localized nutrient overload. The concentrated droppings beneath a feeder can alter the soil chemistry, favoring nitro-loving weeds over delicate native wildflowers. The entire landscape is being subtly reshaped by your desire to watch a cardinal eat a sunflower seed. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction in the ecosystem. Your backyard is no longer a natural space. It is a highly managed, artificially supported habitat that reflects your preferences more than the needs of the environment. The wild has been replaced by a carefully curated simulation.